Do you think that you're a good negotiator? Hi, my name is Potgieter, founder of JPA. And here at JPA, we're business negotiation experts who help professional buyers and sellers to gain the clarity, confidence, skills and tools that they need to blast past their objectives. So I want to share with you today 6 characteristics of successful negotiators. If you think you're a good negotiator, why don't you see how you measure up or stack up against these 6 characteristics? Over the past 15 years, we've done the research. I've had the opportunity to work in more than 54 countries. I've trained face-to-face, approaching 10,000 people in a small setting, groups of 12 or 15 at a time. I've negotiated on camera with about 3,500 people where we've then given them individual feedback, or where I've given them individual feedback. And why I tell you this is because it's provided me with the opportunity to bring perspective to what is good negotiation and what isn't good negotiation. I've researched some of the greatest negotiators known to us, success in many different disciplines, and it's been interesting that these unifying characteristics you will see evident in the world of sports, in business, in politics, in arts. Anywhere where there's excellence, you'll see these 6 characteristics in evidence in one shape or form or another. The first one, certainly in the context of negotiation, if you're a good negotiator, then you've got people down. You understand people, you know how to pull the best from people. You know, it's interesting, certainly in my life, and I'm sure it's the same in yours, we go through so much formal education, which involves us learning about stuff, learning about things. So little of that education focuses us on learning about people. You know, you go through 12 or 13 years worth of schooling, then you go through further formal education, maybe you do a degree, maybe you do a doctorate, maybe you do some informal training at work, but precious little of that training focuses on understanding people, right? So it's no wonder that we have such difficulty. If you're anything like me, most of your problems in life are caused by people, right? There are 3 big problems that people have in life. One is money. That seems to be universal, applies to old or young. People, once again, is probably the biggest problem that everybody shares. You know, think about your own issues in life. They probably involve people. And the third one is health. That normally becomes more of an issue the older people get. But given that that's the case, given that people are such a pivotal part of doing life, it's interesting that so few of us have made the connection that your success in life is really connected to your ability to deal with people. The same is true in negotiation. Your deals are done by people. We negotiate with people, even though we have all this technology. Ultimately, it's people that determine our level of success. So your ability to get somebody to sign a check, your ability to get somebody to unblock a stoppage, to move things forward, all of those depend on your people skills. So people who are very good, excellent negotiators demonstrate unusual people skills. The second one is teachability. So the second characteristic that we see that's displayed by anybody who's achieved excellence in deal making is that they're teachable. They submit themselves to learning, to correction. We see this in evidence so often when we look at the top performers in corporations, when we look at the top performers in arts, in sports, in politics. They're all surrounded by coaches, by instructors, by consultants, because they know that the difference between good and great is paying attention to the detail. You know, it's been said that you will never truly master that which you think that you're good at. Right? So you will never become a master at that which you think you're good at, because you don't think that you can improve that which you're good at. So think about it. You know, one of the things that impresses me most, actually I've had the opportunity to work as a marshal at some professional golf tournaments. You know, I'm the guy who stands up and says, "Quiet, please." But I've had the opportunity then to see what some of these pros, some of the best players, some of the top 10 players in the world, what they do around playing tournament golf. What they do is they go hit balls before they go out on the course, sometimes for a couple of hours. And then what they do when they come off the course is they go hit some more balls, right? Repetition is the mother of skill. But what's really interesting for me is that they are so committed to learning and looking for the edge that they never give up their hunger for knowledge, for the next edge, for the next thing to do. So You have to remain humble, you have to remain teachable if you want to be good. The third characteristic is the characteristic of ambition. So you've got to have heightened ambition. It's not possible for you to be successful if you don't want to be successful, right? If you want to move to the next level, you've got to want it. And that means probably you have to be prepared to pay a price for it. There's no success without a price. If you're going to win the gold medal at the Olympic Games, it's not going to be good enough to sleep late and to not eat right and to do the things that everybody else does. You're going to have a desire that motivates you to be prepared to go the extra mile. It's been said the extra mile has no traffic because there's so very few people there. Okay, the fourth characteristic is the characteristic of courage. It's not possible for you to achieve great success if you don't have courage, for this simple reason. If you're going to have exceptional results from your negotiations, it might mean that you have to do some things that are counterintuitive. Now, you probably agree with me that if you do things that seem, in some cases, illogical and counterintuitive, what that's going to do is it's going to breed resistance and resentment from other stakeholders. People are going to look at you and they're going to say, man, you're doing things that we don't recognize. It's not what we would normally do. But of course, we know if you just do what other people do, then you'll get average results by definition, right? So you're going to have to do some things that are different to what other people do. What that means is it's going to demand courage of you. You're going to have to overcome the objections, the resistance that you're going to be met with if you want to pursue great deals. Just look at Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi. Look at the resistance that they overcame from their own stakeholders, because the way that they approached negotiation just didn't make sense to their stakeholders. Nelson Mandela, here he comes out of jail and he says, you know what, we're not going to be looking for retribution, we're looking for reconciliation, which is the opposite of what people were expecting. So completely counterintuitive in the way that he approaches that negotiation, and he's prepared to make concessions even before his counterparts are prepared to make concessions. And his own stakeholders look at him and they go like, are you crazy? How could he do this? It's the courage that was built into him that allowed him to apply some of these master strokes to get the results that he ultimately got from his negotiations. The fifth characteristic is the characteristic of consistency. We see people who are successful. As a matter of fact, it's not possible for you to achieve success without consistency. That means success is achieved not in one big fell swoop, but little by little, day by day. In the context of negotiation, this means you got to bring structure to the way that you prepare for your negotiations. You have to bring discipline to the way that you get ready to negotiate. You got to have a checklist. You got to bring due diligence to the way that you do things. It's not possible for you to improve what you're doing unless you measure it, right? The way you bring a means of measurement to your negotiation is by being consistent in the way that you get ready for your negotiations. Okay, this brings me to the last characteristic, which is perhaps the most insightful one in terms of helping you to understand whether you're a good negotiator or not. Is negotiation fun for you? Here's the thing. If you find that negotiation is not fun, if you find it's stressful, it's drudgery, it's something you're not looking forward to, probably you've not quite mastered or you've not quite reached the level of a great negotiator, because mastery is reflected through fun. You know, if we use the analogy of great sportsmen, if you get to the US Open in golf, you don't wake up that morning thinking, oh man, I got to go play this golf tournament. How am I going to get myself together to do that? No, it's the moment you live for. That competition is what you live for. You will know that you've truly mastered negotiation when you feel enthused, when you feel enthusiastic about the next negotiation that you're going to be participating in. I hope that I've managed to inspire you a little bit, to encourage you to continue to improve your negotiation skills. There only really is upside from wherever it is that you're at, and that includes me. So here's to your success.